Welcome to another exciting edition of Travel Guide. If you are new here, consider subscribing. Today we will be visiting the Brea Tar Pits and Museum Los Angeles. Always love coming here, the atmosphere, the people, they have a good vibe. You learn so much about the tar pits and the animals that used to live there, so sadly extinct. Good place to bring anyone from any age. The scientific and historic significance of this diamond in the rough is preserved and presented perfectly in the center of The Page Museum requires admission, and is worth a visit if you want to give context to the tar pits, and educate yourself about the Ice Age. The food trucks parked outside a must-to stop for lunch, or a quick bite of so many different food options. It doesn't cost very much money, and what a nice day. It's a beautiful park to spend time in as well. Just watch out for the hot tar lol. The staff is pretty good at spotting and marking the area, but they happen so sporadically that you never know unless you look for them. The largest is the size of a small lake. It's called the Lake Pit, and the smallest are only a few feet across, yet they all managed to trap many prehistoric animals. There is a museum next to the park that has exhibits about the pits and the fossils that have been pulled out. Even though the tar pits are of the last ice age, and not the prehistoric time period, it still covers history up to 35 million years ago. The large dinosaurs like the Tyrannosaurus went extinct 65 million years ago, and before the tar pits were formed. Besides the museum, there is a nice park where you can sit and enjoy a picnic, or read a book, etc. It was really interesting for adults, and if your child is even mildly interested in science, they will love it too. The museum has fantastic displays, and does a great job explaining how the tar pits were formed, how the animals died, and the procedures for excavating the sites. This path takes you through active excavation sites as well as fenced-off areas protecting visitors from that's bubbling up from the ground. For those who don't know, there were dinosaurs in this exact location, and they even keep excavating today to find more remains of what once lived on this area. It's interesting to see how the lake seems to be still alive, and you can see bubbles that looks like mini volcanoes underwater. Besides all that, it's a great place to just take a walk and relax outside in one of the many nice green spots they have around. The Brea Tar Pits and Museum is a nice cultural destination for families, and it's also the sort of thing that people might do as students, or on a date. The tar pits are very much alive, and keep pumping out tar, and a lot of small fossils that the museum gets to study. So not only do you get exposure to a number of different epochs of biology and geology, but also modern practices of science. They may want to look into a way of streamlining ticket sales. A line of 8 groups shouldn't take 3,040 minutes to get through. So much of the tar pits is outside, and free for the public, which seems to be so rare these days. The pits are open for public viewing, and you get to be up close. If you're not a museum person, skip it, and just see the pits. Add an extra hour if you want to take the guided excavation tour past the outdoor dig sites, but you can walk the path without taking the tour as well. Something that was fascinating is that the tar pits are still an active digging site, and inside the museum there is a spot where you can see people in the lab. They're going through fossils they are still finding in the pits. An amazing museum and park with very interesting exhibits, helping you to truly understand what the tar pits are, and why they're important in the field of paleontology. In the museum there are people constantly working to sort specimens such as fossils and bones from ancient creatures that fell into the tar pits. In the museum there is a lot of relevant information provided on the displays for the exhibits, but also the staff are really into teaching you all about the history of the tar pits. You can tell they're truly inspired by the place they work. The museum itself is small enough to fully take in over an hour or so, unless you choose to spend time talking, aka geeking out with the staff roaming around the floor. From the fenced-off active pits to the active excavation sites to the random seeps coming out of the ground marked off with cones. You only have to pay for parking once 15 cause they're adjacent to each other, and you can just walk over. If you park in the lot, make sure you're back before it closes, so go early if you're planning to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. There was a huge crowd during the free-for-all day, but the line to get in wasn't bad at all. It's also a park. It's clean and safe with lots of people having picnics, workout buffs doing exercise meetups, kids playing soccer, and moms with their strollers. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and leave your comments below.